What's good, my peeps? How y'all doing? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In case this is your first time here, my name is Ivy Namu. So glad to have you here. In case you already know me, you've been here before in my weird YouTube journey. Thank you for coming back and thank you for checking this video out. So it's been years, a lot has changed, but I'm just here to, shed some light, speak up about something that needs to be talked about. And yeah, I decided that my YouTube channel was the best place to do this because it's going to stay, and anybody can get any sort of can get this info anytime when they're ready to receive it, when they're ready to learn, when they're ready to see a different perspective, when they're ready to get more info and awareness. I thought YouTube would be the best place for that. I tried starting this Toro on my Instagram stories, and it just felt like I was yelling at the phone. Considering how fast paced Instagram is, I just felt like no, I needed some permanence. I needed it to be in the record. Yes, I was here. I did this. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. So unfortunately, this is about to be a heavy video, not in regards to, of course, experience, just because I'm talking about femicide. This is the killing of women that has been plaguing our country for a while now, but we've had to just give it the attention it deserves. Like, we can't not say anything anymore. So I'm here as a follow up on 27th of January. One of the most historic marches was held in this country, and it was a march against femicide, a march for our lives. And I'm so proud of myself and my fellow women and all our allies, all the men who showed up, all these like-minded people who decided to show up for this cause. I'm here as a follow-up because I had the honor to go for that and just practice speaking up for my rights and speaking up for what's right. So after the protest, I found myself like I literally had to wind down and take care of myself because it was a very intense experience, and I thought it can't end here. The march did not feel like the end. It felt like the beginning of something, and I'm doing my part in making sure that that something is accomplished. Like, we accomplish our goal and we make sure our voices are heard and we make a change. So I came up with something called post March Musings, because I was like, yeah, I've never attended a protest. Shame on me, I know. It was my first protest. And I just thought that, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what happens after you protest. What happens after, you go and demand for your rights? What sort of things, what happens after? What next, basically? So post-March musings. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about how we felt. Let's talk about what we learned, what we saw, and what to do going forward. So I talk a lot, but I managed to squeeze my experience into 5 points. Yeah, so as I was saying, I managed to summarize my experiences into 5 points, which I will be going into, like looking into today. So let's start with, the march itself, the day of the march. Let me be honest, I was anxious. I don't think I ate that morning. I was just focused on resting well and just making sure that I was there on time. I did not want to be late because I didn't want to miss the whole, meeting up, joining together, the psych before. I'd never been to, so I was just imagining, but I wanted to be on time. I'm someone who's working on my lateness, so that's a big deal for me. But yeah, I wanted to be on time. Had a slow morning, chill, very easy, and I had the luxury of driving myself to town. The march was being held at Jivanji Gardens, and so I drove myself into town, parked somewhere, and pulled up. I was there by 9, and it was awesome. I already I just saw my tribe. I didn't know anyone. The organizers, Kina Usikimye and Femicide Ke, and at that time feminists in Kenya as well. The organizers had really done a good job in just educating us about femicide, more awareness, statistics about femicide, what we're demanding from the government in terms of change, and what to do, how to prepare for the protest, what to wear, how to stay safe, all of those things. It was amazing. One thing I'm gonna give it to: women can organize, and it was organized. I was so proud of us, and I felt informed enough to make the choice to come. Of course, in our country, sometimes protests don't go so easy, but I just had to believe the vibes and just trust the vibes that it was going to be okay. And I showed up. So when we got there, it was awesome. Waited for others. The march was actually starting at 10. So we waited for other people to come. You would get, if you needed a t-shirt, if you got early, you would get a t-shirt. I got a free t-shirt and I got a placard. Actually, I got two, mine and for my buddy. Those were the only ones that I could get. Of course, I'm not over there trying to get five placards. I understand that, the point is to just do this together as a team. And I felt that the organizers made sure that happened. Even if you showed up alone, you were sure to make some friends to walk with, during the duration of the march. So anyway, fast forward, it's time to move. Tumeimba hizo chants zote, zingine sikuwa naelewa. Some songs I didn't know, but the energy was there. The intention that we're fighting for our lives, this has to stop. We're dying too much. Being able to meet different women from different walks of life, people you've never met before, yet you relate to each other because of something so tragic. Our culture has subjected us to something so tragic, and it's time we said enough. So that intention was clear around everyone who was there, and I loved it. So we marched and we shouted and we made noise and we screamed for our lives and we mourned the women that we've lost, and we mourned our reality that we still have to beg for our lives, or rather demand, in 2024, the year of our Lord. But I have to say, it was very liberating, very empowering, very healing, very therapeutic. The fact that despite all the noise, all the victim blaming, all the negativity online, all the people trying to dehumanize women and make it seem like it's our fault, despite all that noise online, that day was a real life testament that good people do exist. And if we decide to join together and do something, we can make a huge impact. I saw it with my own two eyes. It was amazing. I was glad to be part of something like that. And anyone who gave us support in any way, anyone who supported that cause in any way, whether on social media, whether on ground, whether where you are at home, I'm proud of you. There were marches all over town, all over the country simultaneously. It was a nationwide march, and it was historic. It was powerful. That's all I can say. And I have to give a shout out to musicians, to influencers, public figures, to creatives. People showed up and showed out. I saw a lot of people. I saw a lot of people from my past. I saw a lot of people, virtual friends. I made new friends. People showed up from different walks of life to walk against femicide. We did that, okay? So it was just a lesson that, your tribe exists. Don't ever let anyone make you feel like hii kenye unafanya ni useless. It was not useless. Together, our collective voice was so powerful, and I was happy to be part of that. The buddy system was awesome. I made new friends. It was sad that we were relating to each other at a point of grief, because the statistics say that 1 out of 3 women has experienced GBV, that's gender-based violence, and it was almost every woman. It's crazy. It's crazy that I have to say that, but it's true. I didn't know some of those women until I went for that march, and they had experienced something that I had, some fear, a moment where you thought, oh my God, if my life ended, they'd probably said it was my fault. It's something weird that we have all gone through, and for anyone to try and dismiss this collective experience is crazy, and we will not take it sitting down. That's the energy I got from there. The police, I don't know if that was the army or something. They were all women. It was nice. It was safe. We were in a huge crowd, a mammoth crowd, and we were safe. We were removing our phones. If you've grown up in Nairobi streets, that's like, that's a notable mention. We have to talk about the fact that you could lift your phone and you weren't afraid that it was gonna get stolen or something. Nobody was being groped or anything like that. It was safe, and I'll always shout out Mogimuni for this. She said it was because we were surrounded by women. We were safe because we were in a crowd of many women. So men really need to check themselves in that regard. Also, yeah, it was that was epic, and I'm glad I took part in the march. So basically, that experience made it just affirmed my choice to support this cause. That I did what was right, and I'm glad that so many of my peers felt the same, and the same enough to show up for that march in the huge way that we did. The organizers, the media people, the photographers, everybody did a good job in documenting this march. And I'm super grateful that it went how it went. It was okay. So next we're going to talk about my second point is about the negativity online afterwards. So after the march, I drove back home again. It was safe. Like this was one of the, I guess, the best protest, the safest protest that this country has had. Truly Rudy home safely, We walked through town safely. I didn't hear of any incidences, and yeah, like the day came and went, and we made our voices heard, and we went home and we rested. I was so proud of that. I was seeing people's content after the march. People shared the power of social media. People shared far and wide, men and women. People talked about that march the whole weekend. It was beautiful. So I also saw what people did after the march. People went back to their lives, and that's how it's supposed to be. Speaking up shouldn't be something that, gets you in trouble. Speaking up shouldn't be something that is looked down upon. Speaking up shouldn't be something that people try and discourage you from doing. Speaking up is something that we need to learn to do if we're to make any sort of change in our lives, in our countries, in our homes. We just have to learn to speak up. We can't take it. If you take it, if you don't speak up, they'll say you enjoyed it. Not us. Not in this regime. We stood up for ourselves. It was epic. So anyway, you'd think we had a kumbaya moment. Everyone's post was so inspiring. The energy online was so inspiring. But it didn't take long before the trolls showed up, trying to dismiss us, trying to rain on our parade, trying to tell us we did nothing, trying to tell us, okay, imewasaidia na nini, trying to, just bully us into thinking that whatever we did was not useful, and trying to dismiss us. What aboutism, gender wars. Like, it was crazy that such a moment that you'd think would be um, a collective achievement for our country, some of our same countrymen fixed their mouths to try and make us feel stupid for doing it. It was crazy, but expected. Shocked, disappointed, but not shocked. That's what I meant. So there was a lot of misinformation. There was a lot of about what about homicide. There was a lot of who's going to fight for the boy child. And I'm just gonna cut it all out right now. Please, please, please. If you're one of those people who was trying to say that make it a gender war in regards to who's gonna speak up for the men, who's gonna speak up against homicide or whatever, like please just read a little, inform yourself, educate yourself. It's okay. It's okay to expose yourself to a new point of view, especially if it's factual. Sometimes we just need to go back to the facts. If we're supposed to solve a solution, the first step is to accept it. No matter how ugly that truth is, the first step is to accept it. Just study, get the information, accept what you're being told or what you have discovered after studying, and change. But without acceptance, there's no change. So that's what happened. There was a lot of misinformation, and I just felt like, you know what, I don't have time for this. We cannot babysit such people anymore. If you are not helping us find a solution, if you are not supporting us in our cause to stand up against femicide, to speak up against women being murdered because of how they're viewed in society, because of their morality, questioned morality. Because again, none of these things are factual. It was all assumed. So I just feel like I don't have time, to educate people on that. There's enough sources online. The most I can do is share those links, share those sources. But by the time we, organized and mobilized ourselves into a march, we are way past trying to convince you that we are worth living. Like we are worthy of life just as women, not as upright women or women who live a certain way or do a certain thing. Just as women, human beings, we deserve to live, whether or not you agree with a lifestyle. That's not the issue here. The issue is, why is it so easy to murder women and to trivialize that murder? Why is it so easy to victim blame? That is the issue. I'm not trying to convince you that I should live. No, it's a right. It's not something to debate about. Okay. So in the face of all that negativity after the march, all I felt was like, you know what? We just need to, first of all, share the links, share the sources we have to the facts concerning femicide. Thank you. Africans Uncensored has a whole database of the femicide cases that have happened in this country since 2019 or 2016. I'm not sure. There was feminists in Kenya had a lot of threads on the same. End Femicide Ke, the page, was also informing people and just sharing a lot of awareness and a lot of information. And so many other organizations and NGOs were doing the same. So I just felt like you don't have to argue with such a person. You just have to let them be. You can share the sources, then let them be. Otherwise, we just need to focus on our goal. We are now solution oriented. We are now not just complaining. We are actually doing something about it. And if you're not going to help us, just move out of the way. Wachana na sisi. Don't try and get us to stop. Just leave us alone and let us do what we're doing. We're not harming anybody. If anything, we are trying to stop that harm. So if you're not supporting us, if you think this is useless, if you think it's silly, if you think it's immoral, that's your business. You're entitled to your opinion, but please leave us alone. Okay. Another thing I saw is, in regards to men and what about men, we are not, just because we're standing up for our rights doesn't mean that we are shutting down or we are ignoring your plight or what you go through. Okay. Just because we choose to fight and stand for women, for the women we've lost, for the women we're raising, for the women that we are, just because we are standing on that and for that, doesn't mean that you are the ones we are standing over. Okay, two things can be true at the same time. We can both stand up for our rights. Yes, the number of men being murdered in this country is high, but it's also true that the people killing men the most are other men. So the bottom line is, men are killing. Okay, if you're not one of those men who is killing, I'm not talking about you. So don't personalize this thing. If you know who you are, you do not have to prove it to anybody. Okay? So please, just refrain from making something that's not about you about you. And if it is about you, know that your time is coming. This is not right. You should not have that sort of you shouldn't be that okay with the murder of people, okay, just because they're women, or it's just not right. You shouldn't be okay with it. So, like I was saying, even in regards to the men we have lost to murder, to homicide, and all that, if the only time you can bring that up is when you're talking about femicide, ask yourself why. Do you really care about those men? Do you know their stories? Do you know what happened to them? What have you done about it? Have you spoken up against it? Or is your speaking up saying, you see, where are the feminists? Come on, you have a voice too. You have a platform too. You use it all the time to pull people down. How about you use it to speak about something that's going to add value or change your experience as a man? Just do right by you and watch us do right by us. Okay, that's it. Hatuna time ya negativity. If you can't support us, then we don't want you, basically. Okay. Oh, that was a rant.
Anyway, we are back with one of our last points. Let's talk about our leaders. So, on the day of the march, of course, some of our representatives in parliament and government came through. Esther Passaris came through, and while we were just, mobilizing, waiting on people to arrive so that we could start the march pamoja na power, she tried to talk to the masses. She tried to speak to us, and people were not having it. We're just like, your silence has been too loud. It's been 2 weeks. We ain't seen you anywhere. We've not seen a social media statement. We've not seen you say anything in, okay, I guess parliament is not open, but we've not seen you for 2 weeks. And now you're here and you want to talk to us for your little clip for your archives? Nah, you don't get to do that. The organizers, Kinanjeri Migwi, Kinanoni, and all the ladies who are up there talking to us and telling us our, reading to us our document, the demand letter that we had, those ladies are who we wanted to listen to. They'd been talking to us all like throughout the whole thing since we started making noise about it. So you can't just come and think you're going to talk to us because you're a politician. That's not enough. You have to be about what you talk about. And for 2 weeks, you hadn't talked about it. You might have been doing things in the background, but sasa si tutajuaje. Anyway, guys, unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know, you tell me, booed her. People were saying, where were you? I remember saying, join the march, just march, don't talk about it, just march. Utaenda kuongelea huko mbele. Saa hii usijaribu kutupea hizo stories zako. Not now. Kina Njeri Migwi, kina Noni had that in the bag, okay? We didn't need it from you. So it was, again, of course, after a while, I can't imagine how it feels to be booed by a huge crowd. Mustn't feel good. So I understood, apparently Noni Maingi was saying that even some other representatives from parliament, some other women representatives from parliament didn't even want to introduce themselves after that. So, okay, when she said that, I kind of felt bad. And at the end of the day, these are our leaders. This is who we elected. This is who we put in place. So whether we like them or not, we have to work with them to make a change. Our solution requires their input. They are the ones who can actually help us take our demands and table them in parliament, or to the, duty bearers. They're the ones who can help us with that. So even if we are angry at them, this whole narrative for woman rep position needs to be done away with. Please don't fall for that. We've been led by men for 60 years. Where is this country? Do you ever say the government shouldn't have any men anymore? Please. So hiyo kitu ya woman rep hafai, hiyo position haifai kuwa, please dead it. That is just a trick to pit us against each other as women. Please don't fall for that. We need woman reps. We need women in parliament. We need leaders who are women, because yes, sometimes, as humans do tunageukwa na wase na the people we voted in, but at the end of the day we vote these people in to help us make change and to do what we need for our betterment. So we can't cancel them, okay? So later on that night, of course, people again were talking about the experience of the march, and Esther Passaris decided to clap back, and it was just, I was like, please, that's not good. It was not the right time. Yes, she's human. Again, I know how it feels to be when everybody is talking about you or writing mean comments towards you online. It usually feels like the whole world is against you, and I feel like it is only human to defend yourself. So my issue with her is not clapping back. My issue with her is that she needs to understand, and this is all of our leaders, you have a duty towards us. It's our right to hold you accountable. It's our right to ask you questions. It's our right to remove our frustrations on you, because you're not doing enough, or we are not seeing what you're doing for us. And I wish she would have taken that moment to show what she had actually been doing, if anything. I wish she had taken that moment to share that instead of clapping back and making it about her. Again, the issue is femicide. The issue is not whether you're liked or not. The issue is not whether you deserved it or not. The issue is femicide. Women are being murdered and we're trying to stop it. So, Izima side shows, I don't like it. I was actually very disappointed in her for that. And of course, we need to also do better. Cancel culture is toxic. Of course, it's cancelled some people who deserve it, but generally it's toxic because it doesn't leave any room for improvement, for growth, for change. And I like to believe that as humans, we change, we grow, we evolve, we learn from our mistakes, and we do better when we know better. So I don't think that cancel culture is the answer, and that's why I'm just saying, in regards to our leaders, we need them, and let's just work together for the common good, which is ending femicide in Kenya, and also making sure legislation is put in the penal code, like is included in the penal code in regards to femicide. So let's focus on our goal, okay? We are not enemies. Esther Passaris is not our enemy. She's on our side. Kukosana ni normal, just like with any other relationship. So let's just, kila mtu amesema side yake. I remember saying that, she should have just told that what she's done. And I think the next day or later on in the night, she ended up saying the things she's been doing. And I appreciated that. Tell us more, Don't be mad at us for being mad at you. In this position, you're the one in the higher position. You're the one with the upper hand. So please, cheza chini, okay? Remember that at the end of the day, you work for us. So as a people, we need to work on how we check our leaders. You don't have to be abusive. You don't have to put people down. But the tweet that she clapped back to was not abusive. But yeah, we should learn on how to check our leaders, and for them, they need to take criticisms and just do better. Sabina Chege, siwezi mwacha hivo. Whatever she said about women needing to know that money doesn't come easy. Oh, surprise, surprise. That's nothing new. I mean, have you been living in Kenya the past couple of years? The economy is in the pits. Okay, we all know we need to work hard. The women who are dying are not the ones who don't want to work hard. That is just being close-minded. And if you don't have anything useful to add to a conversation, just zip it. Nyamaza tu. Just shut up your mouth. You don't have to say everything. You don't have to speak about everything, okay? If you're not helping us, like I said, move out the way. Na hizo mentorship she was talking about, do them, girl. You're the one, again, you're one of those people in leadership positions. Go ahead and mentor girls and see, how much it helps them in this regard. Maybe report back to us with your numbers as well. So anyway, There's so many, we need more women in parliament. I remember speaking to Noni in her DMs and like, we need these people, we need more representation in parliament, in the government, so that we're able to make these changes to our law. We need them. And kama inakusumbua sana na pia you think that you can make a change, simama next time tupatie manifesto, because I'm just realizing that this thing is going like really far down. The leaders that we chose just 1 year ago are showing us just how much they care about us. And let's be honest, it didn't feel like they cared a lot. I mean, our president didn't say anything, first lady didn't say anything, vice president didn't say anything, his wife didn't say anything, so our governor didn't say anything. So I mean, the facts, tuseme tu ukweli, the facts are clear. Do they really care about us? And if the answer is no, it means that we need to do better when we are voting. This thing ya ku vote for a party needs to stop. We need to vote for people who are actually going to help us. So this thing goes deeper. It's not the solutions are not just in one aspect. There's a lot of work to be done, even in regards to our cultural norms, our societal norms, our gender norms. Like, there's a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of healing to be done. So let's do the work, guys. And watu wa government, you owe us, basically. Okay. Nimesahau ku shout out Baba. Raila Odinga spoke against femicide. He did it immediately the issue was raised, and he did it again before the march or immediately after the march, and he was very clear. I remember him saying that your wife is not your property, your wife is your partner. Your woman is not women are not property. They're not things that you can own, that you can exert your power on. They're people. Treat women like people, and then you won't feel the need to trivialize murder just because it's a woman. Okay, anyway, so what next? I talked about self-care, but I can't find the clip, so I'll have to say, please, what next after a protest? Take care of yourself, take care of your mental, take care of your heart. Take a break off social media when you need to. Take a break off fighting with people, keyboard warriors online. Expose yourself to, do the things that calm you, that replenish your vessel, that make you feel better. I mean, speaking up and standing up for your rights is not easy. It's actually draining. Being around so many people and feeling their energy, empathy, reading these stories of women being murdered on the daily, it does something to your heart. It does something to your mental. So make sure you take care of yourself. You can take a rest, or you can find a way to take a break. You know yourself. So do what you need to do to feel better. And like I said, it's a privilege to be able to just switch off from this conversation, because there's some people who are going back to violent homes. Just the night of the march, another lady was beaten up close to death. Just at the next day, another woman, 60-year-old, was found dead. 2 days later, 45-year-old. I mean, by the end of January, it was 30 women who had died in January. That's one every day. This is not nothing. This is an issue, and we need to speak about it. This is something real, and it's draining. Reading those stories is so scary as a woman. You wonder, it's like I've not done anything to stay alive. It's just by God's grace. We always stay safe. We've been raised to fear men, to not anger men, to not offend men, to not take things from men. And still, when you say those no's, you're never quite sure if that man will accept your no. So please don't tell us to be safe. We've been safe. I'm raising my daughter now with those same words. She's one. Okay, we've been knowing. So it's time for the change to come from the others. Let's stop victim blaming, and let's deal with why is it so okay to murder women in this country? It's not. So let's change that. How can we do that? That's the conversations we need to be having. It takes a lot of healing as a culture, as a people. We need to understand why some men think that violence is the only way they can express their frustrations or emotions, why don't you talk about it? Not even to a woman. Why don't you talk about it to another man? Why do you feel the need to show another man that you're stronger than them, that you're better than them, and even to a point of violence? Si lazima. None of us needs to go through this. 75% of the women dying are being murdered in their homes by their husbands, by their boyfriends, by their relatives, brothers, men known to them. The other percentage is by strangers, and that's a small percentage. So, what is that? Why is that? What are you telling us? Like, even the men we trust, we're not supposed to trust? Because if you say men known to them, it means that, they interacted at some point. So tusiongeleshe wanaume, tukae kwa nyumba, tusiwai toka, tusiwai enda, we shouldn't have ambition, we shouldn't have dreams, we shouldn't look for love. What are you trying to tell us? People like to say those girls like money. Who doesn't like money? Again, this economy. Everybody needs money, so that's not the issue. Okay, so we need to work on the issue. The other thing, what's next after a protest? Please educate yourself on the issue. Educate yourself on femicide. Learn more about what it is. In the whataboutism and the gender wars happening online, it was clear that a lot of men thought that homicide was the opposite of femicide. It's not. Homicide is all murders. Femicide is being killed, the murder of women for just being women. Androcide is the murder of men for just being men. And the example they give about androcide online, like on Google, when you check, the example they give is like during war. During wars, men are killed for being men. That's androcide. But when a man dies, that is not androcide. The same way, not all murders are femicides. All these things are true at the same time. Just educate yourself on the differences, on the definitions. Just learn. Accept to accept new information. And if you are convinced, please change your mind. It's okay. It doesn't make you weak. Let's for men, talk to each other. Learn how to deal with your frustrations, with your emotions. Learn how to talk. Yes, this society doesn't allow men to talk or makes it seem weak, but it's not true. So change that for you. How long will you say, oh, this society? How long? So just do better, okay?
And finally, as for me, I've decided to use my platform to just be a place where you can get all this information, where you can learn about femicide and why we have to speak up and stand up against it. The goal from the march, one of the many reasons we were protesting against femicide and standing up against femicide, but we were also demanding that legislation needs to be made to be tailored specifically in regards to femicide in the penal code. The differentiation needs to happen. Okay, that's what we are pushing, and that's what we are demanding from our duty bearers, from our leaders. So that's the point. That's what we are trying to do. For all the people asking what's the point, that's the point. We're trying to change, or rather to have legislation include that distinction. Okay, so what I'd suggest, please follow End Femicide Ke on, I guess, all platforms. You can follow Usikime. Usikime is a foundation that deals with gender-based violence survivors. They save them, they give them shelter, a place to heal. I also think that you should, donate to such a cause, because they use a lot of resources to give all these victims a second chance and a place to recuperate and to just help them mentally, emotionally, and even physically to either recover and also to seek justice and to also have a safe haven to run to when they're running from such violence. So if you find it in your heart, please donate to Asige. I'll put the details. I'll make sure to put the details at either below here or at the end of the video. Like I said, follow End Femicide Ke. You're going to find a lot of information on there. You're going to find updates about this whole End Femicide Kenya movement. So just follow them so that you can keep up with what's going on. The next thing that I know is that on 14th of February, that's Valentine's Day, a Dark Valentines has been approved in regards to, by the organizers of End Femicide in Kenya movement. Dark Valentines means that it's basically a day we are going to hold vigils and memorials for the lost souls, for the women who've lost to this tragic situation. We're going to just hold vigils for them again nationwide. More details are supposed to follow in the course of this week because Valentine's is next week. So make sure you follow those pages so that you can get in the information and also just research on this. Like I said, Africa Uncensored, I'm going to put the links in the bio. Africa Uncensored has a whole database with the statistics of femicide in the country since 2019 or 2016. I'm not sure. I'm sorry about that. But they have the database. Please familiarize yourself. Google if you don't believe things on face value. Research about femicide by yourself. Google is free information. We have access to so much information. Please do it, and yeah, just let's make a change. Let's stand up for what's right. Let's stand up in the face of injustice. Let's realize the power we have as a people together. Let's understand how much impact we can make together and just go for it. Let's do it. This is once until all women are free, none of us are free. Okay, so yeah, I think that's the end of my post-March musings. Thank you so much for watching up to this point and for listening to my rant. It's needed, and you're gonna probably hear more from me about this. Like I said, I've dedicated my platform to making sure that I speak and educate people about it, and yeah, just push for change. So thank you so much.